So, we're trying to solve a problem in Composr. We have a situation where we want to charge points for adding videos or images to a gallery, and we have a partial solution by awarding negative points when someone does this, and it kind of works in that it does deduct the points when the image or video is added. However, it doesn't check that you have enough points before you try to add the image or video, so we need to add essentially some security to make sure that the user has enough points. So I have my code editor here on a test install of Composr 10, and I have a web browser. So let's try and replicate the basic configuration first. So I'm going to go to the configuration, and I guess it's point configuration. Okay, points given to add an image. We'll change that to -5, and add a video -10. Okay, just waiting for it to save, and let's go to add a video. Let's do an image actually. Image is simpler. So there's no kind of warning that you're going to be charged any points, because what we've done is kind of a hack. So before we add any security, how about we let the user know what's going to happen with regard to their points. So I'm going to go over to my editor, and the main file, the CRUD file, is cmsgalleries.php. What I'm working on is a development checkout of the Git repository. So I have all the non-bundled add-ons in here, which is why you see modules custom versions and why you see this message about dev mode. So it's got a lot installed on this repository, but just ignore anything that isn't a default. So we're going to add some code to CMS galleries. So as I talked about on the forum, there's a few different screens that would be involved when you're adding an image. So there'd be the main screen here showing the icons, there'd be the form, and then there'd be the screen that shows when you actually have submitted the image. Okay, so I need to actually put in a proper image here. This screen. So because we're sharing the same code across 3 screens, if we want to do it properly, we should add a function that each of these 3 screens references. But we'll start simple. We'll start by just putting it on the form. So the galleries CRUD module is probably one of the more complicated CRUD modules, because it has images and videos on it, and galleries all in the same code file. Most involves 1 category type and 1 content type. This involves 1 category type and 2 content types. So we need to actually find the correct function for the form. I'm just scrolling through this file. I've obviously worked in this code a lot and have a rough idea what's what. So get form fields is what basically drives the form. CRUD modules are they abstract away the complexity of writing a module that involves a lot of adding and editing and deleting by making it so the CRUD module defines certain functions, otherwise known as methods, rather than just having to define all the flow logic for the module. So a CRUD module defines what's specifically needed for the content type to have CRUD operations working, whilst a normal module you have to implement the whole flow. So this get form fields is understood by a CRUD module. And this one there's three get form fields in here. One for images, one for videos, and one for galleries. So I need to find which is which. Just looking at the code, I should get an idea. I think this is for gallery, so we don't want this one. Okay, here's the next one. So this is for the video. We're on images right now, so let's do the one for images. I'm just checking that this is. Oh no, this is galleries actually. I think the first one we were at before was actually images. Yeah, I think it must be. We can check this. If I just put an exit like that here and refresh, it's gonna exit. Yeah, so that does indicate we're in the right function. Okay, so we have a certain configuration for the number of points it's going to cost. I guess I should find out the name of that config option. I guess I could do that by going to the admin log, the action log, and seeing what admin just did here. Configuration. So we changed an option called points add video and points add image. Yeah. So this is the config option, the code behind the config option. So now I know the name of the config option. I can do something like points is get option that, and I'll do inval because I want it to be a number rather than a string. Get option always returns a string. So I now know the number of points. So I can say if points is less than 0, so if that's a cost, I'm going to attach a message. Just text. Adding this will cost you so the cost is the negative of the number of points we've configured. Can you just confirm you can still hear me just to make sure I'm not talking to myself? Okay, so it's working. It's telling you the number of points. Can Two Starfish, can you just say I can hear you just to confirm I'm still streaming okay? So I'm going to add some code to check you've got enough points. Okay, great, thank you. So we mentioned in the topics that we've got the total points function, which is defined in here. This tells you how many. It says get the total points in the specified member's account. Some of these will probably have been. Oh, okay. So it's not total points. I want available points. That's what I want. Get the total points the specified member has. Okay, so I might have to do require code points to load up that code file, so I have the ability to access the functions in it. I'm not sure if points is loaded by default or not, so I just assume it's not. And then I have to say if available points is less than the negative of points, then I guess I need to do this before the message. Then I do a one exit. We do not have the points needed to add this. Okay. Oops, I did something wrong. Oh yeah, I do need to require code points, and I have to have it obviously above where I'm using available points. Oh, and I have to pass get member to it, so it's getting the available points of the current member, the current user. Okay, so I have enough points. I guess I should really only do this one exit if you don't have permission to go into negative points, but I'm not going to bother. Well, I guess I better do, because the admin might not have enough points and we don't want to block the admin from adding stuff. So to do that I need to know the name of the privilege for whether you're allowed to have negative points. And I think if I go to the points modules code, I think it adds the privileges in here. Yeah, here we go. Have negative gift points. So I need to add an additional clause for this if. If not has privilege. I think I have to get member first. If the current user doesn't have the privilege called have negative gift points, then it will give an error message if they don't have the available points. I just refreshed to make sure I haven't broken anything. Nothing's broken right now. Okay, so okay, I said earlier how we should define a function to do the check so that we can do the check in both the form and when you submit the form. It's important for security to do the check when you submit the form, not just when the form shows, otherwise someone could bypass the form. Okay, I'll just add another function. Protected function check available points, and I'll give it a parameter which will be name of the config option. Okay, so the image upload deducts from the current points, not the gift points. That's fine. I think the function I used is about points, not gift points, so we're doing it right. Okay, so we're defining a new function and check available points, which will get past the name of a config option. Whoops. And we're going to take the code that does the check, and we're going to move it into that function. I lost the chat, hang on. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to be calling that function. Oh yeah. So we'll give it that. I'm obviously changing a lot here. Okay, so this function needed to know points, so I've just defined points inside the function based on the name of the config option passed to the function. I'm separately defining it where I used to define it here because this is also used for this. So I'm calling the function with the name of the config option. Oh, sorry, it should be image, not video. And the function does the check, the security check. So I also need to do the same check. Actually, I'm going to change it again. I'm going to put this if check inside the function. That way, when we're checking when the form's submitted, we don't need to have this same logic. We're just because I'm trying to do two things at once here. I'm trying to do an actual check to make sure they've got enough points, but I'm also trying to inform them how much it's going to cost. Let's separate out these two concerns. So this is just doing the check, and this is giving out the message. So the check itself will only run if the points awarded is negative. So now all I need to do is I need to put this into the code that runs when the form is submitted. Specifically when the add form is submitted, not the edit form. Which makes me realise actually I made a mistake, because we should only be doing this stuff on the add form, not the edit form. So I need to do if ID equals null, all this stuff. ID is null when it's an add form, otherwise it's the actual ID number that's being edited. Okay, so add actualization is the code that runs when the form's submitted. So I just run my function there. Now, if I'm being fancy, I could disable the add image icon if you don't have enough points. So if we go back to here, I could make it so this just disappears if you don't have enough points. But to do that, I'm probably going to make this a bit more complicated, because I'm doing two different things here. I'm checking to see if they've got enough points, and I'm also putting out a message. So let's actually split this into two. So now I've got has enough points, which returns a true or false value based on if you have enough points. And I've got check available points, which will use this. If you don't have enough points, then it presents the message. This way we have this has enough points function that we can reuse to hide the icon without having to worry about it putting out an error message when we don't want it to actually put out an error message, because obviously we just want to hide an icon, we don't want to give an error. So I'm going to go back to the top of the file. Somewhere around the top is where the DoNext manager is defined. This interface is called a DoNext manager. Okay, browse. Okay, so we've got this chunk of code that puts out the icons, and each of these lines basically is one icon. And right now it's allowing you to add an image if allow images is true. So it's kind of complicated, this code. If allow images is not true, the exclamation mark means not, then it puts out no instead of an actual icon. Otherwise it checks you've got privilege to submit, in which case it puts out the icon if you do, otherwise it's null again. So it's doing a few things in this line. It's kind of terse code. Allow images is set to true if there is any gallery that is set to allow images, because we don't want the add image icon to be here if you don't have any galleries in the site that actually has images, because there might be some people having sites that only allow videos or only allow images. I think the easiest way for us to change the behavior is just to modify the allow images to also check the points. So if not has enough points, hang on. just needed the name of the config option. If you don't have enough points on this option, then allow images with these sector false. So now the icon will disappear if you don't have enough points. I do have enough points because I'm admin and I have a lot of points on my admin account. Just to confirm it actually works, I'm going to mess around with the code a bit. I don't want to actually bother creating a test account without enough points, so I'm just going to cheat to test this. I'm just going to make available points just return 0. In fact, this isn't going to work. I'm just going to write that as like a temporary bit of code I've added to test this. It's not going to work because I still have negative point permission under my admin account. So I'm just going to temporarily comment out the code that allows that does the have negative give point check. Oh, I see what you mean about give points. Yeah, yeah, this is about give points, isn't it? And maybe I did use the wrong option. I wonder what the option is then. Security, privileges, points. Oh, I think it's give points to self. Let me check this. I don't know, I'm going to leave this for now. I don't think it's that big a deal. You can always hard code it to do what you want anyway. But my guess is the give points to self option also controls whether you're allowed to have negative points, because it's effectively the same thing. If you allow yourself to go into negatives, that's the same as giving yourself points in effect. Okay, so I've disabled the privilege check and I've just hacked the code temporarily to say I've got no points. So the icon should disappear when I refresh. And it has, good. Let me just go back to the form, and the form should now give the error message. Oh, no, it doesn't work. Okay. Undefined variable points. Let me just mark this as to do so I remember to uncomment this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I need to define points here too. Okay. You do not have 5 points needed to add this. If I hack the code again to say I actually have 5 points exactly, it should let me through. Yeah. So I'm just gonna add another image. I'm leaving it to say I've got exactly 5 points, so it should let me actually submit this. And it does. Let's do the same thing again. But let's say I've got 0 points again. So when I submit the form, what did I forget? Oh yeah. You do not have the 5 points needed to add this. Okay, so that seems to work. I'm just taking out the temporary code I put in. Okay, did I miss anything? I obviously have just done it for images and not videos, but it's just a matter of copying and pasting a few lines of code to make it work for videos too, which I guess I can do now. Let's see, let's start from the top. Okay, I'll just finish doing the video bit, then I'll read what you said here. Okay, so we have this bit here, and we had this bit here. I'm just using a new tab as a clipboard, basically. I'm just trying to find the video code. Okay. Okay. Okay, so it'll work for videos now. Okay, the current points were tricky too because I think it was calculated without the points that were set for joining. That shouldn't be true. In other words, the current points were different than the points you have available. In one spot I saw negative 20 points, and in another I saw negative 15 points. The user received 5 points for joining. I wonder if this is a confusion between points and gift points. So available points uses the total points function and the points used function. So it takes the total points you've ever had and takes away the total points you've ever used. Total points is defined up here, and you can see it takes into account everything. It's basically just a big adding up. Maybe on the forum I gave the wrong function or something, I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure that the code I've just written will take into account all the kinds of points. Okay, so assuming I haven't made any bugs, did I cover everything here? I'm just waiting for you to reply. I'm just doing a diff of the code change I've made. And I'll put this diff onto the forum so that you can see the exact changes. Okay, great. So there's one thing I should have done differently. I shouldn't have saved directly over cmsgalleries.php. I should have actually saved this into modules custom into here, but I do actually have a cmsgalleries.php that's come from one of the unbundled add-ons, so I just didn't want to overwrite that during my coding. So when you do it, save your changes into the modules custom folder, and that will keep it separate so that when an upgrade happens, if cmsgalleries.php changes, it won't get overwritten by the upgrade. So as I say, I will include the diff file of my changes, and I think diff files are fairly easy to read. You can see exactly where I've added lines in the diff, and it basically is a recipe for you to recreate the same changes on your site. So I'm going to end the live stream here.